Hello everybody, welcome back to Eaudetreasure. This is Steven. I was going to do a part 1 and part 2, but I decided to scrap all that. I really want this to be in one video, and I'm just going to give you more of an in-depth or a proper review of the duo fragrances that I've purchased. I have done haul videos before, and I've reviewed 4 of them, but I haven't talked about the 4 new ones that I've got. So in this video, I'll give more of a proper review for these duo fragrances. Okay, so let's get started. I've talked about these 4 already. I've done videos about these fragrances. So my goal is just to do 1 minute on each fragrance and tell you my rating. I'm going to do a number rating from 1 to 10. I'm going to tell you about the fragrance and my impression of it and how it was to wear it. Tell you how much I paid for these and try not to get off topic too much. If you want to skip ahead, you can look in the description. I'm going to have timestamps there so you can jump ahead to any particular fragrance that you're interested in. And of course, just like all YouTube videos and my videos, you can go to the settings and you can speed it up. You can do 1 1/4 speed, 1 1/2 speed. You can even do double the speed if you want to listen to me sound like a chipmunk, but that way you'll get through it in double the time if you wanted to do that. All right, the first one here, I've talked about this one. This is my favorite duo fragrance. This is Rive Fougere. This is a clone of Yves Saint Laurent Rive Gauche, which was originally made to be a barbershop type fragrance. I mean, that one was inspired by Barbasol shaving cream. It has anise and lavender, and it really does smell like a shave and a haircut. And this one is very similar. This one I would give a 9.5 rating because this one smells, I would say, 95% similar to YSL Rive Gauche. It has fantastic performance. It's 6 to 8 hours. It's the same, if not better, than the original in performance, at least for the bottles I have of Rive Gauche. It does feel like I'm wearing Rive Gauche, so the experience is there. On its own, it's a fantastic fragrance. It's appropriate in all situations because the vibe of this is a fresh and clean fragrance, and that works in any situation, basically. The ratings that I give are based on a few things. Number 1, it is based on, is it a good wearable fragrance on its own? And number 2, how close does it come to cloning the original fragrance that it's trying to clone? Does it give you the same experience as wearing that original fragrance? And the performance. Those are the criteria. That's the rubric of this scale that I'm using to grade these. I don't talk about compliments much because, let's face it, I live in Japan and people do not give compliments. There's nobody that's going to stop me on the street or at a supermarket and say, you smell fantastic, what are you wearing? I get that when I'm in USA, but I don't get that in Japan. So I'm not gonna talk about compliments and include them in the rating of these fragrances. Can't give this one a 10. I mean, a 10 is perfect, and what's a perfect fragrance? It's hard to say. I always feel like fragrances can be tweaked and be even better than what they are. If this one had like overnight performance, I might even say this is a 10, but I would say it's a 9.5, and that's as close to a 10 as you're going to get. That's the best one. That's my favorite one. Poseidon's Absolu Elixir. This is a clone of Creed's Absolu Aventus. Now, I don't have a bottle of Absolu Aventus, but I have been to the boutique. I've been to the Creed store at the department store a few times, and I've sprayed it on paper. I've sprayed Absolu Aventus on skin, and I've worn it a few days to get the impression of it, and this is very close. This is a fantastic fragrance. I would give this a rating of 9. Maybe if I had more time with both those fragrances, I would give this a 9.5, but I think a 9 grade is still fantastic. The performance is very good. It's at least 6 to 8 hours. It smells a lot like Creed Absolu Aventus, smells just like it. This has a sweetened pineapple opening. It's like a candied sweetened pineapple opening, and it dries down to something that is more like a traditional Aventus. And it does have like a dark note, like a plum. I'm not going to say licorice, but it does have like a plum, this kind of like a dark fruity note that reminds people of Dior Sauvage Elixir. So if you combined Aventus with Dior Sauvage Elixir, you'd get something like Creed Aventus Absolu, and Poseidon's Absolu Elixir comes very close. But it is more expensive than these. Some of these are in the designer line, so they're basically cloning a designer fragrance, and they're priced around $30. But the niche clones like this, the Creed clones, are a little bit more. These are around $45 to $55. But this one was well worth the extra money I paid. This is cloning Armani Attitude. It's called #Attitude. Now I have to be a little bit more critical, and I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I have to be honest with you. This is not a great fragrance. I would give this one a grade of 6.5, maybe 7 if I'm being nice, but 6.5 because it doesn't really smell that close to Armani Attitude. And I have a bottle of Armani Attitude, did a video about that. It's a designer coffee scent, and it is an interesting scent. It is a nice scent, Armani Attitude. I don't get good performance from that. It's like average performance. It's like 4 hours at best. And this one is the same. It's just average performance, maybe 4 hours. It's a skin scent, and I just don't smell it anymore on me. And the scent alone isn't really that great. It's not that interesting at all. So the fact that it's not really a great cologne on its own, it's not really great either. It's just kind of like it's like a dull fragrance that has a little bit of a coffee note, but that's just not good enough for me. That's why I'm giving it a 6.5 rating. D7, this is supposed to be a clone of Yves Saint Laurent M7, which is a discontinued and very valuable and highly sought after fragrance from the early 2000s. That was billed as really one of the first mainstream or Western oud fragrances. Now, I did a video about one. I found a bottle of M7. It was the aftershave. It was a full 100 ml bottle. It wasn't the eau de toilette, but I was able to compare these two. And this does smell similar to M7. I will give it that. But I can't give this a high grade. I would give this like a 7.5. I can't give it a 7, but I would give it a 7.5. I'll be a little bit nicer. It does smell like the original one, but it's just not really an interesting fragrance. Yes, it's woody, it's dry, but it just feels like the fragrance profiles of today, the oud fragrances of today, that have a little bit of a sweet note in there, whether it's a floral or it's a berry note, or otherwise a sweet note that's blended very well. That's where we're at with oud fragrances today. I think those are fantastic. I feel like even though it's rare and it's discontinued, that's where all the hype is about it. I just don't really think that stands the test of time as a great smelling fragrance. At least the bottles that I've tested, and this one, on its own, it's just okay. As a clone, it's all right. That's why I'm giving it a 7.5. Now, these are the new batches. These are the new Duo fragrances that I've gotten that I haven't gotten a chance to do a full review. I just basically showed you what I got in the haul. The timing with it is I've had like 10 months of spraying and wearing these, and these have been over 3 months. So I think the time has been fine for these to mature in the bottle. This one is called his Aspiration Edition Bianca. And can you guess what this is cloning? This is a Chanel fragrance. This is Chanel Allure Homme Blanche Edition, or Edition Blanche. I don't know if it's the eau de parfum or the eau de toilette concentré, but this one is pretty good. I would give this one an 8. I would give this an 8, and it's a good 8. I would buy this again. But there's something about it, like I can't give it an 8.5 or even a 9 because it's missing an important quality that the original Blanche edition has. And that is, of course, this is a citrus fragrance. It's a sweet, it's a lemony, fresh citrus fragrance for men. It is fantastic. A lot of people love that one. But this just doesn't have that one quality of sweetness. The original one has this sweet lemon, almost a gourmandish. I've heard it compared to like a lemon meringue pie type scent. And this just has like a pleasant lemon citrus scent, but it just doesn't have that gourmand, that sweet, that creaminess to it. It's missing that. That's why I'm saying it's not an 8.5 or a 9. It's just an 8. It's still good. It doesn't smell like some kind of floor cleaner. I know a lot of people take any lemon fragrance that they don't like and they just call it like it smells like lemon cleaner. I'm not going to say that about this. I'm just going to say it's a nice, pleasant fragrance, but it just doesn't hit that sweetness of Blanche Edition. That's why it's just an 8. This one, though, is fantastic. This is another, with Duo, it's a hit or miss, with me at least. This is a hit. Can you guess what this is cloning? A Champs-Eysees Midnight? You probably can, because the word midnight, this is Midnight in Paris from Van Cleef & Arpels. That's been discontinued for about 10 years, something like that. People love that fragrance because it's this rich, luxury-smelling leather fragrance. It used to be a cheapie, it used to be $50, and now it's gone. It's like $200 now, $250 to get a bottle, but you don't need to. This is fantastic. I would say this is like 90% similar. I did a video about Midnight in Paris. I had a bottle of that. It's not here now, but I had enough time to smell that, and I'm smelling this now like a year later, and this is almost there. This is like 90% there. I would give this one an 8.5 rating, 8.5 to 9. If I did a hand-to-hand test, maybe I can tell you it's definitely a 9, but it's at least an 8.5. This is fantastic. It's worth every penny, and it also smells similar to Bulgari Black. Bulgari Black is a tea-based fragrance that has a rubber accord. And yes, it does smell like rubber. I mean, they knew that when they made it. That's why there is a rubber ring on the bottle of Bulgari Black. It's literally a rubber ring around the bottle. This doesn't really smell like rubber. It smells more like Midnight in Paris, but if you have an itch for Bulgari Black, which is also discontinued and getting very expensive now to buy, it's getting up to $200 for the 75 ml bottle. I don't think you can go wrong with this one. So I'm going to give high praise for this. I'm very impressed with this one, and I'm looking forward to wearing this. This is a weekend, night situations. I wouldn't say it's an office-safe fragrance because, like I said, it's like a heavy, like a dark leather fragrance, but this is a fantastic cooler weather, night out type fun fragrance. I don't know, after smelling it, maybe it would be fine. It does kind of have this luxury feeling, so maybe this would be okay in an office setting depending on where you work. And then there's this one, Fierceyoungego. Can you guess what this is? With Dua, it's either a clone fragrance, or it's an original fragrance, or it's a hybrid fragrance. And this is a hybrid fragrance. This is a combination of Abercrombie Fitch Fierce and Chanel Platinum Egoist. Now, you would think those two fragrances would go well together. They both have some of the similar qualities. They're both somewhat fresh, clean, they're woody, they're strong fragrances. They both have like kind of this like metallic feel to them. I'm talking about the original Fierce, by the way, the Fierce from the early to mid 2000s. So that's why I got this. I originally got the Dua Fierce, and I made a video about Dua Fierce. And if I was going to rate that one, I would give that one an 8 rating. And I was a little bit disappointed with Dua Fierce because it doesn't smell like vintage Fierce. It's supposed to smell like vintage Fierce, but it just doesn't to me. And you guys know I have the bottles, and I compare them hand to hand. It just smells like a modern bottle of Fierce. So for that one, because it does smell like Fierce, it smells like a modern bottle of Fierce, on its own, it's a fine fragrance, and I give it an 8. But I can't give it a higher grade because the performance is not there as it was in the original Fierce, and it just doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't smell like original Fierce, so that's just an 8. I cannot give this one the same or higher grade. I would give this one a 7.5. It just doesn't do it for me. First of all, the performance is not there. It's just like 4 hours. If that, it's a skin scent, and then I just don't smell it anymore. And it just smells like a diluted mishmash of both of those scent profiles. If I can give you more of an accurate description of how I feel about this one, imagine spraying on Platinum Egoist. And then imagine spraying Fierce over that. And I'm talking about a modern bottle of Fierce. And then waiting about 3 hours later, and just taking a whiff of it, what you're gonna get is kind of a diluted, a subdued, and a weaker version of those two fragrances. That's what this is. It just smells like a 3 hour later dry down of both those fragrances. The strong performance, that barbershop, shave and a haircut type thing you get from Platinum Egoist. I mean, it literally smells like razors and scissors and knives. It just smells like you're sitting in a luxury barbershop or a luxury hair salon. And Fierce, with that strong performance that you can light up the room when you walk into it. That woody, the citrus blended perfectly. Whatever that Bruno Jankovic, the perfumer, whatever his name is, what he did in the early 2000s cannot be reproduced today. And that's what I feel like when I smell this. You just can't reproduce that. So maybe this smells as it's intended to smell like, but it's just not what I hoped it was. And that's my mistake for having really high expectations for this. Dua Fierce 8, Fierceyoungego 7.5. But I'm finished. I'm done with any Fierce fragrance from Dua. You might tell me in the comments, oh, you gotta try Fierce Attar or this Fierce Bleu de Chanel or whatever Fierce combinations they have at Dua. I'm not gonna do it. unless it's somebody else's, I'll try it. I'm not spending the money anymore. They cannot do it. They cannot give me an original red label or chrome cap Fierce from the mid 2000s. I want something that's 90% similar to that. That's what I'm looking for. Before I get to this one, I remembered that I have two other ones. These are going to my friend. My friend chipped in, and I'm going to review these quickly before I get to the last one. My buddy got another Rive Gauche clone, River Fougere, and I don't need to talk about this one anymore. As I said, 9.5, that's my favorite one. It's fantastic. By the way, these are really nice, the plush Dua brand bags that the fragrances come in. That's what they're doing now. These come in a bubble wrap container, and yeah, these are really nice. All right, my buddy also got this one. This one was a little bit more expensive than the designer line. These are 30 and this was like 35 or 36. Drowning in Caramel Cherry Delight. This is supposed to be a hybrid of like 4 different fragrances. I don't know what they are, but to me this is just like a Dua creation. I'll just treat it like that. And what you see in the picture looks like ice cream or whipped cream and caramel and cherries. That's exactly what this smells like. This is a very sweet, syrupy fragrance that is a caramelly and a little bit fruity with a cherry or like a berry accord. This is exactly what it's supposed to be. This is unisex leaning feminine. I would just say this is a feminine fragrance, but my friend loves that stuff. It just makes him feel calm and warm when he sprays this stuff on. So this is what he wanted. It was a blind buy, and I'm happy to say I would give this a 9. This is absolutely fantastic. Performance, very strong. It smells great, and on its own, it's just wonderful. So this is an example of a hybrid, a mishmash of stuff that came out right. So this is fantastic. Give that one a 9. Let's finish with this one. Error 415. There are a lot of fragrances with Dua where it's just a code, error plus a number, because some designers, such as Paco Rabanne, or Jean-Paul Gaultier, they don't allow them to use any of the marketing or branding on their fragrances. So this is a Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrance. Can you guess what this is a clone of? It's a Le Male clone, but can you guess which Le Male it is? Well, if you saw my Dua haul video, then you know that this is a Fleur du Mal dupe. This is a Dua dupe of Fleur du Mal. Fleur du Mal is one of the best white floral fragrances for men ever, at least ones that I've tried. It is just insanely good. It is super, super performance. It is like next day performance on me. It's got chamomile, it's got orange blossom, neroli, some citruses in there. It's so strong. You could say it's a unisex fragrance. People think in the air it's a feminine fragrance, but it's just like a punch in the face. It's a white floral punch in the face. Now, how close does this come? I'd say this is 85% there. So I would give this a rating of 8.5, and that's a strong 8.5. This is a fantastic, fantastic fragrance. I'm very pleased with this one. It's not a 9 because the scent isn't exactly there. It's like 85% there, which is still good. And the performance isn't like nuclear. This is not like next day performance, but this is good. This is 6 to 8 hours performance, so I can't complain about that. 8.5, I'm very pleased with this. Fleur du Mal is a discontinued, very expensive fragrance. It was only out for a few years from like 2008 to 2011, something like that. There's also a cologne version of that. I have 4 bottles of that stuff, 4 big bottles. I got lucky and found it. But now I'm just going to use this one. I'm happy with this one. And by the way, the labels are very good. If you can see I'll take a look at this one. I guess they use AI to make these images. The labels they're on there. They're not peeling. They're all extrait de parfums, these fragrances, by the way. I'm very happy with the labels on it. The quality of the bottles is great. The caps, they fit on snug, slides on, and you can hold them by the cap. They won't fall. And the sprayer is of high quality. It comes out like a pressurized mist. I'm going to give myself a nice spray of this, and you can see. Look at that. It just comes out as a mist. Beautiful. So overall, I'm impressed with this purchase or purchasing these. These are 2 sets. I bought 6 of them. The one I didn't review, I'll tell you real quickly, the one and only Jazz Club. I gave that one to my friend because it wasn't interesting to me. I thought maybe he would like it, and he didn't like it. He just said it's just a mishmash of fragrances and it's nothing special. You would think Dolce & Gabbana the one and Maison Margiela replica Jazz Club would be a fantastic hybrid. It just isn't. It's just, there's nothing special about it. It just kind of, it's how I feel about this one on its own. There's just nothing really special about wearing these, and nobody knows what it is. It doesn't, people don't say, oh, is that it smells like tobacco or it smells like vanilla. It's just kind of like nothing. It smells kind of like, I don't know, like cheap sunscreen or something like that. And I do get this sunscreen or hairspray type synthetic chemical smell in some of these fragrances that doesn't go away. The fantastic ones, I don't get that, but some of these ones, it's just not really that interesting to me. So overall, it's like a 50-50 proposition, whether it's something that's really great or not. Let's review. I gave this one a 9.5. Poseidon Absolute Elixir, a 9. 6.5 for Attitude. I'd say 7 to 7.5 for D7. I'd give this one a solid 8. This is an 8.5. These two, 8.5s. They come very close to the originals, what they're cloning. It's a great experience to wear them. This one, 7.5. Regular Fierce, I would give that an 8. And this one, a solid 9. Great fragrance. If you're interested in buying these, you can go to the Dua brand website, and I would just wait until they have a great sale or a discount. Every holiday, they seemingly have a 33% or maybe even 36% discount. That's when you want to buy these. Don't buy these at the regular price. The 4th of July, I remember, they had a 38% discount. That's a fantastic discount. You can get some of these designer line fragrances for like $21, something like that. $21, $22, $23. You got to figure out how much the shipping is. The shipping for me was insane. I ended up spending $75 on getting these shipped to me in my city outside of Tokyo, Japan. So I'm not going to buy these regularly. I'm going to buy these like maybe once a year. But if you wanted to get one, I would recommend getting 6 of them, or getting some friends to put some money in and just getting 6 so the shipping fee is worth your while. And hopefully you'll like them as much as I like the good ones in this bunch. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more content like this. Hit the thumbs up button. If you've lasted this long, if you liked the video, please click the like button and say hello in the comments. Give me any of your thoughts on these fragrances or the originals, and stick around for the next video that's coming up in a few days. Thanks again for watching, and take care.